DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
Welcome to this edition of DJNTV. You normally see Mike Walter and Joe Bunn in this spot, but they've got the week off, so you get Mitch Taylor and Vickie Musni.
Ready?
Even though we're batting backup, you know, it's all good. It's all good. So today we want to share with you just a little story from each of us about a recent sales conversation we had and how it went. So Vickie, why don't you go first? Yours is about dealing with a friend, right?
Yes. You know, I've seen a lot of conversations in different chat groups and stuff and Facebook online groups about people saying, well, I'm afraid to pitch my services to a friend, or I don't know how to handle it when a friend gets engaged. And is there this expectation that I should discount my services? And I just thought maybe I would share a recent conversation that I had with someone that's a friend of the family, someone that we've known for a while. And it's actually, well, the mom is my age, and this is the daughter that's 20 that got engaged and is planning her wedding. And I went to coffee with her the other day. So it wasn't quite a traditional sales meeting, but I went into it with the mindset of, I want to help my friend, and I want her to have a great wedding. And I truly believe that the services that I offer professionally would be a good fit for her. I already know that we get along well, that I like her, and that is one of my criteria. I'm very picky about who I work with because I don't take a huge number of weddings. And so I was kind of going with a little bit of a hybrid. Yes, I'm catching up with my friend, but yes, this is also a sales meeting. And it was just a really good, fun, healthy conversation. And it was really easy to be sincere with her. And I think sometimes we get into this mindset of when I'm selling to a stranger, we get into this like overselling mode. And it was extra easy to remember that I want to care about all my clients the same way I care about this friend. But then what I was struck with was when it came time to talk about price, after I'd explained, what we could do for her, and I'd asked all of the, those questions that we asked to get people thinking about, well, what do you want your day to feel like? What do you want people to say about it after it's over? And we got to the price part, and she looked at me and said, okay, really, what is all of this going to cost? And I told her, and there was no well, do I get a deal because you and my mom are friends? Or, that didn't even happen. And it made me, first of all, I felt respected. And I think if we are talking about working with friends, there's an element of knowing that our true friends respect what we do. And she understood, this is my business. This is our livelihood. And I appreciated the fact that she didn't try to play, let's make a deal. And so I guess what I wanted to kind of share, what I want people to take away from this is to not be afraid. Don't feel like it's not okay to have the conversation with friends. If they really are your friends,
right,
they will understand that this is what you do for your business, and you can have that conversation. But also, if you're confident in what you offer, and if your price is fair for your talent level, your experience level, the professionalism in your business, that it shouldn't be weird. It doesn't have to be weird. And so I guess that's my encouragement that I wanted to leave with people, is not to be afraid to have those conversations, and don't feel like you have to either avoid people or discount it, that you can treat them like a person because you do care about them. And if you think that what you have to offer will benefit them, then that's just as valid, whether it's someone that you just met or someone that you've known for a long time.
I think that is something that's important to understand, but and we've all been there. We've all been in that situation where it's like, okay, well, I know you outside of my quote unquote business. We have a personal relationship, whether it's I see you on the softball fields, or I see you in the school hallway, or I see you at the coffee shop.
In this case, in my case, it was someone from church. And that's a part of our life, someone we've known for a long time. Yeah.
So how did you navigate that? You know me, but you don't necessarily know this side of me.
Well, I think it was more just until she got engaged, we hadn't ever really talked a lot about weddings. It was mostly like our families would do stuff together. She and my daughter are pretty close in age, and she has younger brothers that are the same age as my younger boys. And so we've done stuff as families. And until they got engaged, we hadn't really talked business very much.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was more just like, hey, I really do want to help you. Let me start by asking you some questions. And then to hear her say, oh, I'd never really thought about that. At the same time, I was truly, genuinely helping her. I was also kind of practicing what we preach in the Sales for Event Pros, is that setting yourself up as the expert.
Yeah.
And without even necessarily telling the stories, just by asking certain questions, she was realizing on her own how much experience I had in the wedding industry. And then when I could speak to her as a bride too and say, well, I was thinking about this when I planned my wedding, and having worked in the wedding industry for 23 years since my wedding, here's some things that I have learned, and just, helping her look at situations a little bit differently. So I don't know, I think the credibility just kind of was there in a really natural kind of way.
It's really demonstrating your expertise then.
Yeah. And I think it was very natural and conversational. It wasn't like I felt like I had to follow a script, and I know I didn't do the 5 steps of the sales process in order. And
you shouldn't. In many cases, you shouldn't anyway.
Because there wasn't as much getting acquainted, because it was someone that I already knew. And so we kind of jumped right into.
Your search process happened way over time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and organically, like without even, And I've actually known the groom even longer than I've known her.
Mm.
So I know both of them, and but this particular conversation was just with her because he was at work. So.
Yeah, and I think what you hit the nail on the head in regards to friendly. You already were friends with her, but you kept it friendly and kept her results at the core of what you were, discussing with her and having a conversation.
Really?
I had a text conversation recently, literally text came in out of the blue from a gentleman.
Someone that you knew, or just someone random?
Random.
Okay.
Don't know this person.
Okay.
I've never met this person. Hello, my name is so-and-so. I'm reaching out to you because I'm trying to coordinate DJ services for my wedding on this date. Ceremonies held here, receptions held here. The reception must end at this time due to a city ordinance. I'd love to hear back from you and talk about your availability and what options you have.
Sounds very blue red to me.
And I asked him, how did you hear about us? Of course, and he said, just heard good things about you through the grapevine and made me want to give you a call.
Cool.
Looking for a DJ, have discussed photo booth as well. Not sure how that works with this venue. And then from there, I, talked about his venue a little bit, logistics of it, and then said, when's good for us to chat? He said, it's going to take a little coordination. I said, we can do something virtual. And then he asked the favorite question, of course, of all of us. Mm-hmm. And that is, did you have any ballpark pricing you can quote for me, or options I can look at?
At least I like that he said ballpark pricing. So to me, that's showing that he has done enough research. It sounds like he's done enough research on you, probably just looking at your website or Facebook page or whatever, that he knows that you have a lot of options, because the way the way he worded that. So
yes. Cool. The ballpark thing is interesting to me, though, because you throw out a number and everyone's like, they think you're going to, that's the number. Yep. So that's a question and concern you got to, think about as a provider. You want to throw out a realistic number.
Yes.
That's a point here, especially if you already had that kind of a candid conversation, it has to be a realistic number at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So, I gave him a number at that point, explained what it included, how we provide what we provide, and then asked a question at the end, as Alan Berg has stated in the past, and I asked, and I use his same terminology, is that in the ballpark for you?
Okay, good. The groom's terminology.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm
curious though, Mitch, because I know a lot about your company and your pricing just from having worked with you for so long. did you give him a number or did you give him a range? Because you have different levels of talent and pricing.
I gave him a starting at X price.
Okay.
Yeah, so and this was starting at 1,600.
Your junior MCs, okay.
Yeah, one of my junior MCs that we started at. So
because that's obviously different in your situation than mine. Whereas for me, I'm quoting me. This is what it's going to cost you to get me. Yeah. This is your only option is me. Take it or leave it. And you do have different people on your team.
Yeah.
So okay, I was just curious and wanted people to know.
And then I gave him the photo booth pricing, and then I said, I can send you this to you in a link with videos and testimonials from past clients as well. What's a good email for you? He sends me the email and he says, we're considering our options right now to see what the best fit is for us. 1,600 is a little higher than what I was anticipating, but it depends on what's included in the service. I'd love to see some testimonials. Please send those over and I will discuss with my fiance. And then I proceeded to do what I outline in Converting Price to Meeting, that seminar that you and I have given several times in the past. And shameless plug is available on my website. But it says
tailoredsales.com.
Yes, yeah, that one. And then, so I proceeded to outline the planning, the production, and the performance, restate a USP, and show testimonials, which is the brief outline of what is included. We go in much more depth in the seminar. And I sent over the proposal, and I asked a question again at the end. And, you'd be wondering what his response would be at that point. Because, again, he left it relatively positive, I would say.
Yes, but he admitted he wasn't fully prepared for that number.
Correct. So his response back, after I laid out those steps, if you will, for planning, production, performance, and what's included, he says, I totally understand where you're coming from. Thank you so much, ! I would love to see the proposal and discuss with my fiance about scheduling a meeting with you. Her name is blank.
Cool.
And I responded back, proposal sent. Thank you for the opportunity to earn your business, and I look forward to hearing from you. He said, thank you very much. I'll look it over this evening.
Nice.
2 days go by.
Okay. That was my next question.
So then and this is, by the way, this is literally this past Wednesday. So now we're this past Friday, 2 days go by. I said, hi, Eric. I know sometimes life gets crazy, but did you get a chance to look everything over yet? Because realize, we as salespeople or business owners or DJs, whatever you want to throw on us at the point in time, we're like, we're waiting by the phone, waiting by the keyboard, hoping they're going to call, listen, people have a life. They have stuff going on. There's things happening.
Well, it's a double standard, too, because we're told that this day and age, people expect an immediate response from us, but yet we're not allowed to expect an immediate response from them. And that's just reality.
Unfortunately, that is the society we live in. And I hate to say it, and I'm not saying this to you, Vickie, whatsoever, but anyone who thinks, they can avoid that double standard, suck it up, buttercup. Customer-centric is where we are and where you have to be if you want to have an edge, because almost everyone can provide what you're providing.
So what happened, though, after you sent that?
So he responded back. He said, I have not actually. I work in Marquette during the week, but live in Escanaba with my fiance. I'll be home over the weekend, and we'll look over the proposal then. Thank you for your follow-up. And I said, of course, I would have some time to meet with you next week if you'd like. Let me know and have a great weekend. So I will fully prepare to text him again on Monday, or maybe even this evening, and see where things are at. And maybe they choose us and maybe they don't. Mm-hmm. But the point is, I didn't pressure him to have the meeting. Yeah. I didn't pressure him to, well, you have to come in and have a meeting with me first before I give you a price. Some people are just going to, write you off at that point. To me, have the conversation where they want to have the conversation. Where
and how. And it sounded to me like he had some very, like I said, my initial reaction when you first read it was that he sounded very blue-red. And he was very specific. And I thought you did a really good job of answering everything that he brought up. And I think when you do that, especially with that personality type, it helps them feel validated and respected. You weren't trying to dodge any issues or move the conversation in your own direction. It was customer centric. You were meeting him where he's at.
You have to get comfortable with having the conversation where they want to have the conversation. And yes, I fully agree and admit and believe strongly that they should meet with whomever they're considering handing a live mic to in front of all their friends and family. That's a line I use all the time, and I even used it in this text message with him because it's true. They should. But they also lead busy lives. Many of them are young professionals. They're just getting started. Their schedules aren't as flexible as the 45-year-old, worker or 40, worker that's already climbed the ladder a little bit, has a little more flexibility, right? They don't always have that flexibility.
Well, he sounds like he's got to commute too. And
yeah, he's got to commute. So yeah, there's a lot of things at play. So just keep it friendly, keep it flexible. I think that's hopefully what you get out of this episode with us, with DJNTV. Vickie did a great job of connecting with her friend and also avoiding the whole, well, I have to give you a discount because you're my friend program, by having them respect what you do. Right, Vickie?
Well, and honestly, Mitch, listening to you talk about this groom, I can tell that you do care about his wedding. And I want to think that I care that much about everyone. But I think until you have a sales conversation with a friend, it puts it in perspective because you're already emotionally invested. I love this girl and I love her whole family. And I'm like, wow, can I really say that about every client I've had a sales meeting with that was a stranger until they sat down with me? And am I doing as good of a job of really caring about their outcome as I want to think I am? And I just think it reminded me too that there is always room for me to grow in that, and I can always care a little bit more. And this was just a really good reminder for me on a lot of fronts, from a sales aspect and from a client perspective, and then from the friend about not having to change anything just because they're my friend. My service is still my service, and I still believe in what I offer. Yeah.
There's always room to grow, and that's what you get out of these DJNTV episodes. I'm Mitch Taylor.
I'm Vickie Musni.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Have a good week.